All right, today we're cracking open one of the most talked about and, let's be honest, controversial books out there, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. So, is it a masterclass in strategy or is it a playbook for manipulators? We're about to find out as we dive into the first 7 crucial laws. Think about it this way. Greene's whole point is that there is a game of power being played all around us, at work, in our social circles, pretty much everywhere. And whether we want to admit it or not, we're all players. This book claims to be the rule book we never got. Some people call it cynical, for sure. Others see it as a tool you absolutely need for self-defense. So let's jump in and unpack these first 7 laws. Okay, so this first set of rules is all about how you handle the people right there in your orbit. Your bosses, your mentors, even your friends. This is ground zero. This is where the game really begins. So law number 1 is never outshine the master. And this is a big one. It's a direct warning that when you're trying to impress the people in charge, you can actually go too far. Showing off all your talents might not get you a pat on the back. It could just make them feel insecure. Here's the deal. To your superiors, your amazing skills can feel less like a gift and more like a threat. If you make them look good, even if you give them credit for your own great ideas, you become an ally they can't live without. But if you make them feel threatened, you just painted a target on your own back. It's really all about managing egos. All right, now for law 2, which is a tough one. It's a total paradox. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Wow, right? This one really goes against the grain of pretty much everything we're taught about friendship and loyalty. So what's the psychology behind this? Greene's argument is that when you hire a friend or bring them into a power situation, things get messy. That casual friendship can curdle into envy and resentment. And because they're your friend, they might feel a little entitled and get difficult if things don't go their way. Now, let's flip that. Think about a former enemy. If you bring them onto your team, they have everything to prove. They are not going to take your trust for granted. They're often more loyal, more grateful, and since they expect less, they're often way easier to manage. The next 2 laws switch gears a little bit. We're moving from people to information. Because power isn't just about who you know, it's about what you know, and maybe more importantly, what other people don't know about you. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. The idea is simple. People are always trying to figure you out. They want to know your motives. If you're an open book, you're predictable. And if you're predictable, you're super easy to outmaneuver. Being mysterious is a form of power. By keeping your real goals hidden, maybe even throwing out a few decoys to send people down the wrong path, you make it impossible for them to block you. You always keep the element of surprise on your side. And that flows perfectly into Law 4, always say less than necessary. In this game of power, your words are like currency. And the more you spend them, the less they're actually worth. Think about it. The more you talk, the higher the chance you're going to say something you regret, right? Something foolish. Powerful people get this. They often impress people by saying almost nothing. Their silence makes other people uncomfortable. And what do people do when they're uncomfortable? They talk. They start filling the silence, and in the process, they reveal their own plans and their own weaknesses. See, talking less and being a little vague, it creates this aura around you. It's about power. It's about mystery. It makes the few things you do say seem way more important. Your silence becomes this blank screen that other people project all their own fears and ideas onto. So, this brings us to our next big idea, which is all about your single most valuable asset. And no, it's not your skills, it's not your money, it's your reputation. Law 5, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Greene literally calls this the cornerstone of power. If you have a strong reputation, it can intimidate people and win you battles before you even have to do anything. Your reputation does 2 things. It's your shield, protecting you from attacks. But it's also a weapon you can use to influence situations. So you have to be constantly on guard, watching for any attacks on your reputation while learning how to, poke holes in your opponents. Which leads us straight to Law 6, court attention at all cost. Now, this might sound like it completely contradicts Law 1, right? Don't outshine the master. But it's all about context. Sure, you don't want to threaten your boss, but you absolutely cannot afford to be invisible. This law points to a brutal truth of the world. If you're unseen, you don't count. Being ignored is like a social death sentence. So from this perspective,
Any kind of attention, good or bad, is better than none at all. It keeps your name on people's lips. It makes you seem larger than life.
Okay, the final law we're covering today, this one might be the most ruthless of all. It's all about efficiency, leverage, and the cold, hard math of who gets the credit. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Yeah, that one's a little tough to swallow. It's basically telling you to stand on the shoulders of giants, and then pretend you got that tall all by yourself. The logic here is just pure efficiency. By using the efforts of other people, you save your own time and energy. You come across as this marvel of productivity and speed. And according to Green, history doesn't really remember the names of the helpers. It just remembers the one name that's attached to the big achievement. So let's do a quick wrap-up. These first 7 laws, think of them as your opening moves in this big chess game of power. They're all about setting up your position on the board, carefully and deliberately. It all boils down to this. You have to control how people see you. You have to manage your alliances with extreme caution. You have to use information like a weapon by saying less and hiding what you're really up to. And above all else, guard your reputation, because that is the foundation for everything. And finally, you can get ahead faster by cleverly using the work of others. And all of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Is mastering this game just a practical, necessary thing we have to do to get by in a complicated world? Or is it a path that, in the end, costs you your own authenticity? It's definitely something to think about, and we'll dive into even more challenging ideas when we cover the next set of laws.